everyone, welcome back to my channel. If I'm posting this on YouTube, probably that is where it's gonna be. Or if I post it at all, I think I would post it just because, videos like this and conversations like this need to exist on the internet. Yeah, so today I just want to talk to all the young people out there, and especially the young people of the Western world. I live in the US, so yeah, the young people of the Western world, the millennials, the Gen Zs, the Gen Alphas. I just wanted to come out here and talk to all of you about the war that's going on right now, the genocide in Gaza, and our responsibility towards it, or what is our part. I think it's really difficult for a lot of people to grasp the fact that this is it concerns us a lot, and just because it's happening on the other side of the world, it's not just another war. And that's because the biggest part about that is because we're funding it. We're literally putting our dollars, our money into long story short, we're funding a genocide. Yeah, every American who has ever went to work in the past year, who's paid tuition in the past year, who's went shopping in the past year, if you've gotten tickets for a concert, for a show in the past year, you paid taxes. So it's all of our money that's going out there to basically ethnically cleanse a whole population of more than 2.2 million people. And I've been thinking a lot about what our personal responsibility is, A, as young people, B, as educated people. A lot of people in my circle, I went to high school with them with, or went to college with them with. So I don't know if you guys know or remember, but some of the greatest revolutions, some of the greatest movements in history began in schools, began by students. In my country, in Ethiopia, there's a movement actually called the Students Movement. If I'm not mistaken, it was against the military regime at the time. And yeah, students, young people, we have a huge responsibility, and we're not kids anymore. Yeah, we're not kids anymore, so it does concern us. I think in the past, all the wars we've seen and stuff, we've been way too young to understand what's going on or take a part in the conversation or anything like that, But I'm 23. Yeah, I'm 23. So a lot of people my age, it concerns you. And speaking about the student movement, I want to talk a little bit about the Harvard students' open letter the day after the attack on October 7th, that they put out, an open letter that they put out, and the retaliation they were met with. So in case you guys did not know, in case y'all didn't know, I think about 30 organizations in Harvard. I started 30 student organizations in Harvard. So that's your student government, Net Police Student Association, all these different organizations. They put out an open letter, which you guys should check out, and I'll try to link it down in the link below. Basically saying that this attack did not happen in a vacuum, and to stop was a call to just understand the history of the past 75 years of Israel and Palestine, and explaining everything that was going on. So and this came right after all these Western nations were condemning Hamas and whatnot. Yeah, so they put out an open letter, and I want to talk about the retaliation that the open letter was met with. So I saw that right away, and then there was multiple organizations and CEOs of really huge companies that were oh, can you pass us the name list of the Harvard students that wrote that letter, so we can not hire them and make sure that they're not hired. And I was like, this is absolutely crazy. And I think a day or two after that, the State of Israel Twitter account or X account basically reposted this article and was like bullying the students, saying that their name should be released, and these like make sure you don't hire them and stuff like that. And this is still out there, like you guys can go see it if you scroll back a few days. So yeah, like that really concerned me. Like, why are you trying to silence students? Like that's pretty concerning. It's like a mass scale of censorship, and they did leak their names. So there was like billboards across the US that had their names on it, like telling CEOs like not to hire the students. More recently, there was a UC Berkeley law professor that said that his students support Palestine, so make sure like you don't hire them. And I'm like, this is absolutely crazy. And what I'm urging you guys to do, like as a young people, is to do your own research, not to be do your own research first of all. Like go on YouTube, watch some of the documentaries that have been made about Israel and Palestine in the past. Look at Abby Martin's documentary. I would recommend that. I'm hoping to watch it soon. Look at some YouTube videos, spend 30-40 minutes watching these videos. Don't take everything you hear with like a grain of salt, and just don't be like super close-minded. And I also want to say that this is your fight. If you're thinking like this is not my fight, this is your fight. If you're a human being, this is your fight. And I do want to reiterate that, because especially I saw this post that said like all the stuff, like all the activists, environmentalists, feminists, like this concerns you, and that couldn't be more on point. If you're any type of activist, like this does concern you. I do want to call on like the Black community, the queer community, to stand up against this genocide. And you might be thinking like, oh, like we have our own fights or something like that. And to that, I say like, injustice somewhere is a threat to injustice everywhere. I think I'm like messing that up a little bit. That's like a Martin Luther King quote. So like it does threaten you, whether you like to believe that or not. To all the feminists, like, our fight has always been treating women like with respect and equally, and making sure they're protected, making sure children are protected. And what we're seeing is the absolute opposite of that. We're seeing a massacre of children and women and young people. Yeah, the average age in Gaza is 17 years old. So I definitely urge you guys to think about that. Another thing I want to talk about is like, if you're nervous to speak about a topic that is not like your country or something like that, right? So yeah, that was my first reaction to, I'm like, I don't know a lot about these two places. Like I just really didn't know a lot about it. Like I know there was some extent of oppression going on there, but like very surface level. And even understanding that, and understanding what like a words, like don't be afraid to speak up. There's strength in numbers, and do your own fucking research. And other than that, so like speaking up looks different for everyone. Like it's not going to be posting on social media for everyone, and I get that, although like I do encourage that people do that, especially because this is $1 billion ad campaign. Like it's a genocidal ad campaign with pop-ups and like pop-ups, tweets, Instagrams and videos that the State of Israel pages are just pushing out day after day after day. So that's why I encourage you to like be active in the social platform, because it's also an information war, and sharing what you know, even if you have like 100 followers, that's 100 people that would have not seen the stuff that you're showing them. And I also want to say, as like someone who's started sharing like more recently. I think I found that a lot of people feel the same way that I do, and that they are definitely like nervous to use their platforms, speak up. But I hope that kind of goes away for them soon. But other than that, the other forms of like activism, there's many forms of activism, and I urge you to like look for those ways, and implement them. You can call your representatives, which is like really easy and straightforward. Like if you search your state and then look at like what are my state representatives, you can find their email and their phone number like right there. So you could call them, email them, and like it helps. It really helps. There's strength in numbers, and I think the first part that we need to, the first thing that we need to make ourselves believe is to understand that we can make a change. Because if we feel like we can't make a change, then that's why we stay quiet, and that's like why we feel powerless and all of these things. But we have to believe that we are able to make a change, and have some faith in that. But so even talking with your parents, like challenging people in your family, like that's a form of resistance, and that's a form of activism. Challenge the people around you, challenge your family members, challenge your friends. Go out. If you're in a school, a lot of schools are organizing protests. Like any state, just Google or like go online and see like what your state is doing, like what they're organizing. There's power in numbers, so make sure you're just showing your solidarity in like some way, shape, or form. But yeah, this is your fight, because it's a fight against humanity. It's a fight against like basic human rights, and honestly, I want to just believe that a lot of people around us, like that they also believe that this is wrong, and that they're just scared to say anything. That's what I want to believe, because the other option is that you guys think this is okay, and I know people around me just don't think that. So I'm not willing to accept that. This is your fight. This is your fight. This is every single person's fight. If you're an environmentalist, a feminist, a Black Lives Matter activist, like any type of ist you are, like this concerns you. Allies, friends in the LGBTQ community. This is all of our fight. So yeah, just think about that today. And like, you're not alone. There's a lot of people, who, there's a lot of people who are feeling probably the same way I'm feeling and the same way you're feeling. But you just can't be hopeless. We have to fight for these people, and it's really sad to see like some videos from Gaza where like the doctors are telling us like, oh, this is a genocide and this is a crime against humanity and humanitarian law, like this is a war crime. Like they should not be telling us that. We should already know that, and we should be making our voices heard. And it scares me that our government and our president is like lying straight up to our face, and that's just the way it is now. But we don't have to accept that. We're not gonna accept it. And if you care about yourself, your family, your community, your neighbors, your neighborhood, the less fortunate people in your community, like you will stand up against this, because it's not just millions at this point, it's billions of US dollars that are going there to end human lives, to torture human lives. That's unacceptable, and we're not going to accept it. That's all.